Today we will talk about parametric equations and how to graph them. Suppose x and y are both given, but they are given in terms of a third variable, t, and that one we will call a parameter. And your equations are given as x equals f of t and y equals g of t. Each value of t will determine the value of x. You just plug it in here to get x, and you plug it in here to get y. Now, if we are asked to sketch a parametric equation, there are a couple of ways of doing it. Let's assume we are trying to sketch this parametric equation, x equals t squared minus 2t, y equals t plus 1. I'm going to use the tables to do this. So the best thing to do first is you just go and look at different values of t, and t is not necessarily time, so you can take anything you want. So you go to Stat, Edit, and you're going to enter in L1 t values. I just pre-entered those, like -4, down, -3, and so forth. In L2, you go up and you will enter. Let me clear this so that I can re-enter it for you. In L2, we are going to enter the x values. And the x values are given as t squared minus 2t. So you push enter. So that's going to be L1 squared minus 2L1. All right? Now, L1 is what I entered as t in L1. So when you push enter, it enters all these values. Let's do the same thing with y. Let's clear the y column. Now I'm going to enter L3, push enter. We are going to enter this formula, t plus 1, and t was in L1, so I can enter L1 plus 1. Alright, and when I push enter, I got those y values. Alright, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and use a feature called stat plot. When you push this button here, you can just put a bunch of statistics plots in there. So I'm going to push enter to get a couple of options. The type that you will use here is this scattered plot of y versus x, but it's going to connect the dots. You enter discrete points, but you connect the dots. Where did you put your x? You put it in L2. Where did you put your y? You put it in L3. Now, I don't want to even, worry about what my window is. If you don't want to even fiddle around with that, what you need to do is go to Zoom. And this is some kind of statistical plot. Your calculator doesn't know that you are doing parametric equations. You're doing just a statistical plot. When you push enter, you are going to see the parametric equation. If I want to use the graph feature rather than the tables, I do a similar thing but a little bit differently. Now, the first thing you want to do is just to turn off all the statistical plots. The way you do that, you go here and go to second stat plot. And do you see that plots off button? So you can go and turn them off so that it doesn't interfere with what I have. Now, I want to just use the parametric curves feature of your calculator. The way to do that, you have to change the mode. You need to go to mode right here and go down. Look here, there's function parametric polar. So you want to push parametric. So you want to go here to pick that. You push enter. And now this is black. Do you see it? Now it's all set. Now get out of there. Perfect. Now I want to enter my equations. Remember, it was x equals t squared minus 2t and y equals t plus 1. You go to y here. And when you push this button here, instead of taking x, and it will know to take t now. You just push t and square it with this button, minus 2t. And then in y, you're going to put t plus 1. Again, this button, t plus 1. Now, you can go and you can change your window. And look in here. You can put t minimum. Let's say, this time it's not giving you the y and x values. It's giving you the t values because you have it in parametric form. -10. And let's say I want to go to 10. Do you see that? So I'm matching what's in here. T step, that's fine. And x minimum, let's take -3.5, x max 26.5. That is kind of like leftover from doing the stat plot. And now you can do all these things, okay? And you can change this and you can see it. Now, let's see if that will give me a graph. Graph. Now, as you see here, when I did this previously, I had grids. You can actually change that by going second format. And you can put the grid off or grid on. If I want the grid on, I just push that. And then when you graph it, and this time you're going to have all the grids. Now, if you want to see the coordinates, what you can do is just use the trace feature. Do you see that? It will give me the t value, the x value, and y value. And you can move around. When you move around, do you see that? It will change things. Like, do you see the t value here? Okay, it will change. It will give me all these values, which is very, very handy. Now, let's see if I did this right. You can do some algebraic check. And the way to do it by hand without a graphic calculator, you're given x equals this, y equals that. What you can do, you can substitute, just like solving two equations, two unknowns. You can substitute for t, and t equals y minus 1. Just you move that 1 over here. And when you take this here and plug it in here, you're going to get an equation of a parabola, sidewise parabola, which is x equals y squared minus 4y plus 3. Oh, that looks like a sidewise parabola. So you can actually make a little mental check to see that you actually entered everything the right way.